It's your friendly neighborhood music man, Jamie Watson. This is my podcast. There's a song for that. And welcome to the show.
Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hello folks, welcome back to the show. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you feel about it, I do not have a guest today. This is a short one for a long day. The reason being, this will be the last episode I will be doing from England, heading back to Belfast. So, by the time you hear this episode, I will either be getting smashed with friends from my last day in Bath, or I will be back in the home nest playing with my dogs. I know. For every one of my little bubble in Bath, Bristol, and slightly further afoot, it is going to be different. I will not be able to just rock up to your house in 20 minutes anymore. So it will be no more text messages simply asking, pub? Because it's 100 metres from our houses. It will be different. And believe me, it's sad for me as well. I was mentioning it to my housemates and some other friends. I'm sad. I'm leaving. Before you start saying, just stay then. Well, no, I can't do that either. You see, the amount of rent I pay here compared to how much money I make is putting a dent in my aspirations for the future. Whereas if I spend a year, back at home with the parents, I'm not paying rent. It opens up my options quite a bit. You see, I want to move even further away from the UK. And I want to go to very different places. Either to the States for obvious music reasons. I love country music, southern soul, Americana. It makes sense. Or I head to New Zealand simply because it's pretty. And the landscape, I believe, would just do wonders for disconnecting from the struggles of social media. And I know what you're all thinking, but I'm removing political/social elements from this decision because that is going to be a factor wherever I am. It's a factor here in England. It's a factor back in Northern Ireland. You can't really escape the quarrels of society. We can only choose how we live our life in spite of what is happening around us. After this pandemic eases up, I want to travel, share more experiences with different people, see what part of the world feels most like home. As hippie as I sound, we're all on a journey, bro. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Just go out there and find yourself. And I'm at a point in my life where it is the optimal time to do that. I'm still young, but not too young that I can't learn from a few culture shocks. All I can hope for is that the people I share a part of the journey with are happy. There's more to see. As my dude Chris Stapleton says, I'm just a traveller. Chris Stapleton there with Traveller, best male vocalist at the minute, in my humble opinion. But you don't need to argue, you just need to listen. Because when we really listen to what people say, I don't mean just shutting your mouth until you can get another word in because that's what you're waiting for, you big old narcissist. But actually listen. The world gets a bit more interesting. Over the past 4 years, I've met a bunch of strange, funny, intriguing individuals, some of which I'm very good friends with now. Some are none of the above, but they are just kind people, and that makes me happy because I'm a bit of a cunt. They balance me out a bit. Check my chakras and all that. Honestly though, I feel like I have hit the objectives I had for being in Bath. I've made music, played some great gigs, made bands, disbanded said bands, finished university,
Southwest England fucking completed it, mate.
Oh, I need to move on, folks. I need to re-engage with my roots before I head out elsewhere again. But I'm very glad I have met a lot of you. I feel privileged to know some of you. And I recently heard a cover of a song I haven't heard in years. And it really encapsulated the feeling I had in the past few days. Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters, originally by Elton John, performed by Maren Morris off the Restoration albums, which is basically just a compilation album of a load of country artists that did their own cover of Elton John songs. I would highly recommend. But in terms of this song, it's like, give me a bit of solace, you know. When the world is a bit crazy, when life is a bit too fast for us to process, well, thank the Lord for people like you, our Mona Lisas and Mad Hatters. Here we go. Of course, the burning question is, Jimmy, will your podcast keep going? Yes, the pod will continue, but I'm going to have a wee adjustment break when I get home because life changes and all that. Or perhaps I won't and there'll be one next week as usual, who knows? But I would like to thank everyone that has been listening so far. It has meant a lot to me. You've put the effort into listening to the musical rambles of my guests and I. I hope you've gotten some new tunes out of it. Or at least maybe you've been intrigued by some of the topics that I've talked about on the show. It has been a big help to me, just in terms of scratching that social itch while everything was crazy. I've been doing this since November. Like, that's mad. I've listened to music I never would have known about otherwise. Many a drink has been had, many a playlist shared. Some episodes of this have lasted like 3 hours. You know how long that actually is? That's like 9 anime episodes you could have watched instead of listening to me. I feel privileged, really. Especially when they have the best intro songs of all time. Like this one that is ingrained in my head. It is not only a version of the intro of the most influential anime of all time. I have now got housemates singing it because when I am playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, it comes on every time it starts up. So come all, enjoy being a weeb with me for a few minutes. Ooh! Yo! What a way to brighten a dark day. It may literally be impossible to not smile while listening to Chala He Chala. But anyway, back to the tragedy of me leaving England. Fucking weeaboo. Now I will definitely come back to see a few peeps, as they also said they would come to Belfast. So it will be a back and forth kind of thing. Hopefully. But this does feel like a new chapter in my life now. And I hope you all understand why I'm leaving ye old Somerset. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play more gigs for you all, and I truly regret that. Most of my gigging here was done a couple of years ago in Manus Parlo. You know, I did not quite get to gig my solo project too much due to a pandemic, and that is unfortunate. So to make up for it, I've got a special surprise for you listeners that have made it this far. Those you do not know, the 4th of July was the 1 year anniversary of You Don't Know Me. Of course, my first solo single that I released featuring Megan Clemens. Go check it out if you haven't. But I've been doing bits behind the scenes. I've been recording and writing and all that good stuff. And what we have in store for you is a single with a B-side produced by the lovely George Clark, and an EP that is currently in the works produced by Sam Cooder. Thank you to anyone that's pre-ordered that so far on Rocket Fuel. It will come to you guys first. But I thought it was only fair that I treat you guys that pay attention to this show, because you guys are the best. Not the ones that switch off after 5 minutes or 30 seconds. The peeps that make it the whole way through these podcasts. You guys have my undying respect, and you should be rewarded. And I'm going to do that by giving you a sneak peek of my A and B side that will be released this summer. And this is all related because this A-B side is dedicated to the time I have spent here in England. It is my way of saying goodbye without actually saying it. So here's the current version of a track I wrote called Before We Turn Cold. And it's the B-side of my next single. I wanted to personify my time in Bath, my experience of uni, my time away from home. And it's a stripped back song that I hope you will love as much as I do.
Why can't you see not who you need inside your feet? Do as you please. I keep a photo when you shelter me, so I'll take my stones to lighten the load. So let's make one more memory for eternal gold. This love that we share is always touch and go. That was the joke. I would still think clever being. So let's make one more memory for to go. This love that we share is always touch and go. This love that we share is always touch and go.
you go, folks. A little present for those of you that truck through my ramblings. As mentioned, that'll be the B-side of my next single. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, I want to keep this one short, as it will be a busy day for me. So I'll share some words of wisdom from Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius with you. Though thou shouldst be going to live 3,000 years, and as many times 10,000 years, still remember that no man loses any other life than this which he now lives, nor lives any other than this which he now loses. The longest and shortest are thus brought to the same, for the present is the same to all, though that which perishes is not the same, and so that which is lost appears to be a mere moment. That sounds like nonsense to you, worry not. I struggled with it until an insightful Reddit user explained it on a thread. And they explained, because we only ever possess the present moment, and the past is a memory, and the future an enigma, there is nothing that can be taken from us but the present, which really isn't ours anyway. So it is stupid to fret about the past, which, though it influences the future, no longer exists and thus cannot belong to us. And it is stupid to worry about the future, which we can attempt to prepare for, but which is always unknown, and which equally does not belong to us. Marcus advises himself to only concern himself with what is truly up to him, the present moment. And on that nugget of gold, I will leave you all to your day. Peace, love, and happiness, you absolute cretins.
If you've got a feeling that you can't put into words, don't worry, friends.
'Cause there's a song for that.